Have you ever felt the weight of loss pressing down on your heart? Imagine a woman, lost in her grief, wandering through her village in search of an impossible remedy. She clutches a mustard seed, a tiny symbol of hope, believing it could bring her back what she has lost. But what if I told you that this seed holds the key to understanding our deepest sorrows? As she encounters others along the way, each person shares their own tales of pain and heartache. The stories are raw, yet they reveal a profound truth: we are not alone in our suffering. Have you ever realized how interconnected we are through our struggles? Just when you think the weight of grief will consume her, a glimmer of wisdom emerges. Can a mere seed truly change her perspective? This journey weaves through the intricate threads of loss, reminding us that every heartache carries a lesson. Stay with me as we explore this poignant parable, unlocking the hidden messages within our grief. What if, within our suffering, we could find the strength to rise again? Let's dive deeper into the heart of this story and discover the light that can emerge from our darkest moments. The meaning of the parable of the mustard seed. When I first stumbled upon the parable of the mustard seed, I was struck by its simplicity and depth. The mustard seed, so tiny and seemingly insignificant, symbolizes faith, an idea so compact yet bursting with potential. This metaphor resonates with me, especially during moments of loss and grief. Often, we find ourselves in situations where our faith feels as minuscule as that seed. But the beauty of this parable lies in the promise that from such diminutive beginnings, something magnificent can grow, much like our spirits can flourish after experiencing heartache. In my own life, I have faced the sorrow of losing loved ones, and I remember feeling overwhelmed by the weight of it all. The mustard seed's message reminds me that, although my grief felt insurmountable, there is a possibility for growth and transformation. It's a gentle nudge that invites me to hold on to hope, even when it seems challenging to do so. Like that tiny seed, my faith can be nurtured through the process of mourning, allowing me to find strength and resilience in moments of despair. This parable also speaks to the cyclical nature of life. Just as a seed must be buried to sprout into a plant, the experiences of loss can lead us into dark places, only to emerge into the light of new beginnings. The pain of grief often pushes us to confront our beliefs about life and death, challenging us to reconsider what it means to grow spiritually. It's a journey filled with uncertainty, yet the promise of eventual blooming keeps me anchored. Moreover, the mustard seed serves as a reminder that growth isn't always linear. There are days when I feel like I'm regressing, as if the weight of my sorrow is too heavy to bear. However, the parable encourages me to recognize that even the smallest steps taken in faith, no matter how imperceptible they may seem, can lead to profound changes over time. It teaches me to embrace patience and trust in the process, understanding that healing and growth require time and nurturing. Ultimately, the parable of the mustard seed inspires me to cultivate my faith in the midst of loss. It reassures me that even in the darkest moments, there is potential for something beautiful to emerge. The metaphor of the seed, representing both fragility and strength, provides a framework for understanding my own journey through grief and the spiritual growth that can arise from it. The process of grief is often described as a journey with various stages, and I can attest to that truth. It's not a linear path. Instead, it feels more like a winding road filled with unexpected turns and detours. The stages of grief, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance are all deeply intertwined, and I've experienced them in a way that feels uniquely personal. At times, I've found myself stuck in denial, struggling to accept the reality of my loss. Other times, anger has bubbled to the surface, often directed at myself or the universe for what feels like an unfair twist of fate. As I navigate through these stages, I often reflect on the mustard seed parable. It offers me a sense of comfort and hope. Even in the denial stage, when I'm reluctant to face the truth, I remind myself that it's a natural part of the process. Just like a seed takes time to germinate, I understand that my heart needs time to adjust to the new reality. It reassures me that I don't have to rush through my emotions. I can allow myself the grace to feel what I feel. Anger, too, has been a companion on this journey. I've shouted into the void, wondering why things had to turn out this way. It's a messy stage, but I've learned to channel that anger into something productive, perhaps by expressing it through writing or engaging in physical activity. The mustard seed metaphor serves as a reminder that even anger can lead to growth. It's the fire that can ignite change, pushing me toward healing rather than getting stuck in despair. Bargaining often follows anger, where I find myself caught in a web of what-ifs. What if I had done something differently? What if I had seen the signs? In these moments, the parable of the mustard seed reassures me that even the smallest glimmers of hope can emerge from regret. It encourages me to shift my focus from what I cannot change to what I can nurture within myself, my faith, my resilience, and my ability to grow despite the pain. Depression can feel like a heavy blanket, suffocating and unyielding. Yet, within that darkness, I hold on to the seed's promise that light will eventually break through. Acceptance doesn't mean forgetting or moving on, rather, it's about acknowledging the loss and allowing it to coexist with my life. It's the understanding that growth can emerge from grief, and that even the most profound sorrow can lead to a stronger, more compassionate self. The relationship between small seeds and big transformations, the idea that small experiences of pain can lead to significant transformations, is one that resonates deeply with me. Just as a tiny mustard seed can grow into a large tree, the small sorrows I encounter in life have the potential to reshape me in ways I never imagined. Each moment of heartache or loss is a seed planted in the soil of my soul, waiting for the right conditions to sprout into something beautiful. I think back to moments in my life where small disappointments or losses felt overwhelming at the time. Each experience, though painful, has contributed to my growth. It's like the process of cultivation, tending to the garden of my heart, pulling out the weeds of negativity, and nurturing the seeds of hope. Over time, I've come to realize that these small experiences are not just isolated events, they are interconnected threads in the fabric of my life. When I reflect on the mustard seed, I see it as an emblem of potential. Just as that tiny seed carries within it the promise of a flourishing plant, my small experiences of loss and pain carry the potential for transformation. They serve as catalysts for introspection, prompting me to reevaluate my values, beliefs, and priorities. Through this lens, I've learned that every tear shed can water the seeds of compassion and empathy within me. Moreover, the journey of transformation often requires patience. Just as it takes time for a seed to germinate and grow, my personal growth through grief requires nurturing and care. I've learned to embrace the slow process of healing, recognizing that it's okay to take small steps. Each moment of reflection, each act of self-care, and each connection with others contributes to the larger transformation that is unfolding within me. Ultimately, I find comfort in knowing that even the smallest seeds of pain can lead to profound changes. It's a reminder that my experiences, no matter how insignificant they may seem in the grand scheme of life, play a crucial role in shaping who I am. And as I continue to navigate the complexities of grief, I hold on to the belief that from every small seed planted, a magnificent transformation can emerge. The importance of community in grief. When we talk about grief, it often feels like such a personal journey, doesn't it? You find yourself in this deep, dark tunnel, and it seems like the only way out is to navigate it alone. But that's where the beauty of community comes in. The parable of the mustard seed reminds us that even the smallest connections can lead to immense support. Just like that tiny seed grows into a tree that provides shelter and rest, the relationships we nurture can help us weather the storms of loss. During my own experience with grief, I found solace in the people around me, friends, family, even acquaintances. Their presence became like a balm for my aching heart. It was as if they were the soil nourishing my little seed of strength, allowing me to grow despite my circumstances. I learned that sharing my pain, however uncomfortable it might have been, created a space for others to share theirs too. This exchange of vulnerability enriched our bonds and turned my solitary grief into a shared experience. Moreover, community support doesn't just come from people we know well. Sometimes, it's the unexpected gestures from strangers that touch us profoundly. Comforting word from a neighbor or a sympathetic smile from a cashier can remind us that we are not alone in our suffering. The parable emphasizes that everyone has the potential to contribute to someone else's growth, even in the smallest ways. When we lean on each other, we create a network of resilience that helps us rise from the ashes of our despair. It's fascinating to think about how communal rituals, like memorial services or group therapy sessions, can facilitate healing. They provide a structured way for us to express our grief and connect with others who are experiencing similar losses. In those moments, we realize that we are part of a larger narrative, one that transcends our individual experiences. The mustard seed grows into something much bigger than itself, just as our collective grief can lead to a shared understanding and camaraderie that ultimately strengthens us. As I reflect on the importance of community in the grieving process, I can't help but feel a sense of gratitude. It's a reminder that while loss can isolate us, it can also connect us in ways we never anticipated. The support we receive transforms our grief from a burden into a shared journey. That's the essence of the mustard seed, small yet mighty, just like the connections we build during our hardest times. Personal growth through pain. Have you ever noticed how pain has this uncanny ability to shape us? It's almost as if it carves out new pathways in our hearts and minds. When I think about my own experiences with loss, I realize that even the deepest sorrow has the potential to lead to profound personal growth. This idea resonates so deeply with the parable of the mustard seed, which teaches us that great things can emerge from the tiniest beginnings. Sometimes, that tiny seed is our pain, and with the right conditions, it can blossom into something beautiful. In the aftermath of loss, I found myself confronted with questions I had never considered before. What does it mean to live fully? How do we honor those we've lost? These questions pushed me to reflect on my own values and priorities, challenging me to reevaluate what truly matters. This introspection, while painful, was a necessary part of my healing. Just like the mustard seed that needs the right environment to grow, my grief transformed into an opportunity for deeper understanding and connection with myself. I remember one particularly tough day, sitting alone with my thoughts, feeling utterly lost. It was then that I understood that pain is a universal experience, and through it, we can cultivate empathy. The grief I felt opened my eyes to the struggles of others, allowing me to connect on a different level. This newfound empathy became a catalyst for my personal growth. I started volunteering, reaching out to others who were suffering, and sharing my story. In helping them, I found healing for myself, a beautiful reminder that our pain can be a source of strength and connection. Moreover, the journey through grief taught me resilience. I learned that it's okay to feel broken, but it's also important to acknowledge our capacity to heal. Over time, I began to see that every tear shed, every moment of despair, was part of a larger process, one that leads to renewal. Just as a seed transforms into a tree, I discovered that my experiences of loss were shaping me into a more compassionate and understanding person. This growth, born from pain, became a cornerstone of my identity. Looking back, I realized that the pain of loss was not just an end but a beginning. It compelled me to grow in ways I never thought possible, reshaping my outlook on life and the world around me. The mustard seed metaphor beautifully encapsulates this journey. What starts as something small can lead to the most significant transformations. And in this sense, my grief became a catalyst for growth, teaching me that even in the depths of sorrow, we can find the seeds of renewal. Hope and renewal. In moments of despair, it's easy to lose sight of hope, isn't it? I remember feeling completely engulfed by my grief, as if the weight of my loss would crush me. Yet, the parable of the mustard seed reminds us that even after the darkest nights, the dawn will break, and with it comes the promise of renewal. This message resonates deeply with me because it encapsulates the essence of the human experience, the ability to emerge stronger and more vibrant after enduring hardship. Each time I experienced loss, I found myself in a cycle of mourning. But as I navigated through the pain, I began to notice glimmers of hope emerging. It was in the simplest things, a sunrise, a kind word, or a memory shared with a loved one, that I started to recognize the potential for renewal. Just like that tiny mustard seed that grows into a tree, I realized that my grief could lead to new beginnings. It became clear to me that loss does not have to mean the end. It can also be a transformative process that opens the door to new possibilities. This idea of renewal became even more evident as I engaged in creative pursuits. Writing became my lifeline, a way to express my feelings and channel my grief into something meaningful. Each word I penned felt like a step toward healing, a testament to my journey. In this act of creation, I discovered a new sense of purpose. It was as if my pain was being transformed into art, a beautiful reminder that even in our sorrow, we can create something that resonates with others. I also found hope in the stories of others. Listening to people share their experiences of loss and how they found their way back to joy was incredibly uplifting. It was a reminder that we are all connected in our struggles and victories. Those narratives served as beacons of light, encouraging me to believe that renewal was not just possible, but inevitable. The mustard seed, after all, grows into something magnificent, just as our experiences can lead to personal growth and transformation. As I continue to reflect on hope and renewal, I am reminded that these concepts are not just abstract ideas, they are lived experiences. Each day presents us with the opportunity to nurture our inner mustard seed, allowing it to blossom and thrive. Even in the face of loss, we can cultivate an environment where hope flourishes. This journey may not be easy, but it is one worth taking. After all, from each sorrow, a new beginning can arise, and that is a lesson I hold close to my heart. Hope and renewal. When I think about the parable of the mustard seed, I can't help but feel a sense of hope resonating deep within me. The idea that something so small can grow into something magnificent is a powerful metaphor for our lives, especially in the context of loss. When we experience grief, it often feels like we are carrying the weight of an enormous burden. Yet, hidden within that pain is the potential for renewal. It's as if the universe is whispering to us, reminding us that just as a tiny seed can burst forth into life, so too can our spirits rise again after enduring heartache. In my own journey through grief, I've found that the process often feels cyclical. Just when I think I've reached acceptance, something triggers a wave of sorrow, sending me spiraling back into the depths of my emotions. But reflecting on the mustard seed's journey provides comfort. It doesn't grow overnight, it requires time, nurturing, and patience. Each small step I take toward healing is like watering that seed, allowing it to take root and eventually flourish. I remind myself that even the most profound losses can lead to unexpected growth and beauty, just as the most delicate seeds can yield abundant flowers. The message of hope embedded within the parable also speaks to the idea of transformation. Loss can shatter our world, leaving us feeling disoriented and hopeless. However, it's essential to recognize that this disarray can serve as fertile ground for new beginnings. Just like the mustard seed, which must break apart before it can sprout, we too may need to experience a form of destruction before we can rebuild ourselves anew. Each tear we shed waters the soil of our hearts, making way for the seeds of resilience to take root. Moreover, the concept of renewal is not just limited to personal growth, it extends to our relationships and communities as well. In these moments of despair, we often find ourselves leaning on others, sharing our stories, and allowing their presence to nurture our spirits. This interconnectedness is akin to a garden where different plants support one another, creating a vibrant ecosystem of hope. As we begin to heal, we also contribute to the renewal of those around us, fostering a sense of collective strength that can weather any storm. Ultimately, embracing the notion of hope and renewal encourages us to look at our pain differently. Instead of viewing loss as a definitive end, we can see it as an opportunity for new life. The mustard seed teaches us that transformation is not only possible but inevitable if we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and open to the process. By nurturing our hearts with love and support, we can cultivate a garden of hope, where even the tiniest seeds can grow into something extraordinary. As we reflect on the parable of the mustard seed, let's pause for a moment and think about our own experiences with loss. Have you ever felt that deep ache when something precious slips away? Remember, even in our darkest moments, there's a seed of hope waiting to bloom. Just like the mustard seed, our grief can transform into something powerful. Think about this: what if every tear you shed watered the roots of your resilience? Each moment of sadness can be a step toward understanding and healing. Loss is universal, yet so personal. How do we navigate through it? Let's embrace the lessons embedded in our stories. Can you recall a time when you turned your grief into growth? Perhaps it inspired you to help someone else or ignited a passion you never knew you had. As we close today, I invite you to carry this wisdom with you. Share your thoughts in the comments. How has loss shaped your journey? Remember, you're not alone. Together, we can find strength in our shared experiences. Stay curious, stay compassionate, and let's keep exploring the profound teachings that guide us through life's challenges. Until next time, keep nurturing your inner garden.